I have to ask the question, why? Because DC recently seem really being unable to do films, or even have, well, they have, but recently, TV, they are doing potentially so good. So good. I mean, at the moment, you've got Arrow, and so far season 1 and 2 have been really, really good. A couple of years ago, you'd have never seen this show. But you have, actual characters appearing from the comics and all their, in all their, rigmarole. A couple of years ago, a villain would have called himself that name, but he would have probably just be wearing, a drab black coat and maybe some hair dye, and that would have been it. But now you've got The Flash coming, and I cannot wait to see what that comes out like. Because again, given how well they've done on The Arrow, The Flash does look like it could be very, very good as well. And then you have Fox, who basically today have just released the synopsis for Gotham. And this is going to be based on the rise of Jim Gordon from being detective to going to police commissioner. And I have to say, again, they've said so far, villains that could be potentially showing up: the Penguin, the Riddler, the Joker, Catwoman, to name a few that they've mentioned. And you're looking at something potential that, again, could be really, really good. However, it's done by Fox, and sometimes Fox have a bit of a but again, we'll see. Looking forward to them, definitely, because they both show a heck of a lot of promise. Now, Marvel, on the other hand, amazing films. TV-wise, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been so-so. They've had some really good episodes, they've had some really meh episodes. Nothing has been fantastically bad, but from what we've been hearing, the next part of the Season 1 is set to be really good. So again, looking forward to see what happens. But there's something that I really want to address, particularly in terms of animation. Because the animated offerings of both Marvel and DC, again, have been really good. DC have, for the past couple of years, been releasing film adaptations of their comics. And I have to say, they've been really good. And then you have just Young Justice, and good lord, I wish that had continued, because that was so good, and it's such a shame that it never picked up and continued into a third series. And then you have Marvel. Now Marvel, a couple of years ago, I'd say we're probably kicking DC's ass in pretty much every single area. And now they're certainly doing it in film. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will see what happens where by the end of Season 1. And particularly for other news shows they've got coming out on Netflix and I think Amazon as well, I think it is. We'll see what happens. But animation... Oh, and this has to do with when they joined with Disney, because they had two amazing shows. You had The Spectacular Spider-Man and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They were absolutely brilliant. They were on par with anything that, DC had been putting out. And then, of course, they merged with Disney. And Disney went, no. So instead, you've got this really, really awful version of the Avengers. And it's god-awful. And then you have Hulk, Agents of Smash. And good lord, have they dumbed them down. And I mean, beyond you know, because comics know this, that their main audience, that their actual audience is, you know, young adults to their older fan base. The people who they're targeting with the, you know, things, I understand it, but, you know, when you're doing animation, I love animation, and that's one of the things that annoys me. You know, you look at countries like, you know, Japan, where they will have animated programs and shows specifically aimed to older audiences, and yet we have nothing like that in the West. It's so depressing, but there's such potential that could be done with it, and there are a few shows that have done it. There are a few shows out there, like the Venture Brothers, Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law was very good, Metalocalypse, I can't remember what the other one is. Never mind. But there are a few out there, particularly on Adult Swim. And again, it's interesting to see their choices since they've joined with Disney. And it's even going to be interesting to see what now Disney does with Star Wars, because it'll be probably next year before we see anything. But the good news is we are finally getting to see the last couple of episodes of Clone Wars, which are on Netflix, coming soon, I believe. So it's a good time to be a nerd at the moment, particularly when you get to watch, you know, things you read coming to life on the screen.